Many lives have been ruined by family expectations. Yakov Stalin worked to meet his father's approval, but was considered weak, not meeting up to the standards the Soviet premier had established for him. Lisa Brennan Jobs was a young woman who could never meet her father, Steve Jobs' expectations of her and had a distant relationship with him. From important families, such as these, to relatively minor ones. Over the course of history, many lives have been tragically ruined by the expectations of family members. However, family expectations need not define a person.
My family's expectations do not define me because
I am different from my siblings and other children.
I have my own career path.
and I am my own person.
I am different from my siblings and other children.
Parents often wonder why their children are so different from each other, even though they are raised in the same family and environment. Dr. Sylvia Rim believes that in addition to genetic differences, competition between siblings affect development of children within a family. Sometimes second or even third children feel inadequate by comparison to a first sibling and thus search for different areas of expertise. This explains how their siblings define them.
This scene shows us the effects of sibling standards upon parental expectations. In the clip seen above, the parent views the first child's grades with an approving look, and when the second child comes about, unable to meet that high standard, the father is furious with the child and expresses deep disappointment, setting unhealthy standards for the child to attain and leaving the child in a state of misery.
I am overshadowed by my sister due to her academic achievements and her social personality. However, I do not let this define who I am. While I am inspired by her excellence, I refuse to let her achievements set standards that I cannot meet, and instead excel in my own different ways.
So, Edwin Booth, a famous actor, is a prime example of not letting your siblings define you. His brother, John Wilkes Booth, was also a famous actor, but he's more commonly known for his assassination of President Abraham Lincoln. Following all of that, John's reputation kind of surpassed his brother's, and the family name became more so associated with the murderer than the cool good actor. However, after a brief period of time where Edwin Booth sort of figured out how to resolve and how to figure himself out, he decided that he was going to pick himself up. He started a new modern theater, and he eventually became known for his best performance of Shakespeare's Hamlet. So following all of that stuff that he did, he basically refused to let his brother define him. He refused to let his brother's assassination of the president define who he was, and instead became known on his own merits for being one of the best actors of the 19th century, an amazing Hamlet performer, and an overall great guy.
I have my own career path for my future.
Parental influence on children's career choices range from the minuscule promptings of outside circumstances to the heavy-handed approach taken by overbearing parents in ordering their children to pursue various career paths. In various immigrant communities, most commonly in Asian American communities, this is the result of the higher expectations of them and the higher barrier to enter this country, leading to a selection of the very finest of these immigrants. These parents place higher expectations of their children to enter higher paying fields, such as fields in medicine, computer science, engineering, and law. This might go contrary to children's desires. This desire also translates to a focus on academic excellence. Donna Poon, a researcher with New York University, states that this desire for success leads them to encourage their children towards academic success, sometimes in harsher ways than are typically seen by other parents. This desire to push their children in academic settings to ensure they have respectable positions and professions is a prime example of parental expectations negatively impacting the child's well-being.
All my life, I've just been told that I need to become a nurse because I'm Filipino, I'm Asian. I need to become a nurse. All my family members, not only my parents, but also my uncles, my aunts, they just want me to become a nurse. But I don't let that define who I am.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't let that define me because I want to become an architect. I like to make things instead of trying to put things. I don't even know what nurse to do. But you know what? I just want to become an architect. I want to do what I want to do. I don't want them to tell me that I have to become a nurse because the rest of my family is a nurse. I want to be different. I want to be an architect.
So any of you guys know about the girl named Florence Nightingale? The girl that she reduced the death count by 2/3 during the Crimean War by fixing unsanitary conditions. Oh yeah. I heard she also made the St. Florence Thomas Hospital and the Nightingale Training School for nurses. Yeah, that's her. But did you know that she was not supposed to be a nurse? She was born before the Victorian era. I'll explain why later, but she was born in 1820 to be exact. And she was born into a high-class family, her father being a landowner and her mother coming from a family of merchants. Her father basically put her into like some classical education, so learning stuff from German, French, to even Italian. Like, dude, that's crazy. Dang! Wait, how did she get into nursing? When she was young, she ate for the people in need. So basically, like the people in her neighboring village, she cared for the ill and the poor there, which is a village close to like her family's estate. At like 16, she knew what she wanted to be. Like she wanted to become a nurse, but her family was like, no, you cannot have this low class job up in here. So, well, this is because during the Victorian era, which I brought it back again, women were expected to basically marry men of wealth. Basically, they just had a bunch of money, but I mean, she still pursued the dream at the Lutheran Hospital of Pastor Fliedner in Kaiserwerth, Germany. So I guess you could say that she's a really big inspiration for those resisting familial career expectations.
Family expectations often conflict with the idea of individualism, that a person should strive for personal independence and growth and try to be their own person. Familism is the term used to show that the needs of the family are more important than one's individual needs. This starts to put stress on an individual's mind, having to worry about how their family is going to live, and on top of that, how they will live so that they can provide for the family. It is not good for one's mental and physical health of the individual.
This scene shows us the effects of parental expectations on children's identity. The child in the scene desires to pretend to be something that the parent does not approve of, that of a water bottle. The parent vetoes the idea, insisting that the child will be an engineer, and the child is obviously crushed. The child does not wish to follow that path, and simply wishes to be his own individual. But the father once again sets standards, much to the disappointment of the child.
David Brinkley is a prime example of someone who is their own person. Even though his mother disapproved of the only two things he grew a passion for as a kid, reading and writing, he did not let her make him a person he did not want to be. Despite his mother not being there for him, his father passing at an early age did not help David. In the end, David overcame all the obstacles he was faced with and became one of the most beloved NBC anchors on television. He also played defining roles in two revolutionary network news programs that dominated the competition in their prime: NBC's Huntley-Brinkley Report in the 1950s and 60s, and ABC's This Week's with David Brinkley, which transformed Sunday morning talk shows during the 1980s and 90s.
Many lives have been destroyed by letting family expectations define them, and pain is caused when they do not meet these expectations. However, others refused to let it define them and became known for their interests, with or without familial approval. Ada Lovelace, for instance, the daughter of the renowned poet Lord Byron, became known for her excellent work on the first computer. Edgar Allan Poe, a famous poet, only achieved his prominence after defying his family's expectations of him. Throughout this documentary have been listed people who refused to let their family define them, from brothers of assassins to crucial nurses, from key figures like Ada Lovelace, one of the first computer scientists in history, to Edgar Allan Poe, to normal people. Many people have broken free from this vicious cycle and refuse to let themselves be defined by their family's expectations of them.